Hello, welcome back to ADHD Fabrication. I'm excited about this one because today we're getting back on the Volkswonda build. If you don't know what the Volkswonda is, don't worry, I'll get you up to speed. This is a 2002 Mark IV Golf. This Mark IV Golf has a VR6 with a 6-speed manual transmission. In the front, it's front-wheel drive. I also have a 1991 Honda Civic, this one right here. It has a B16 in it. It is also front-wheel drive, but I want my 1991 Honda Civic hatchback to not be front-wheel drive anymore. And I figured what easier and better way to do that than putting a 2002 Golf VR6 and 6-speed manual transmission and entire subframe into the back of a Honda Civic. It should be easy, right? I don't know, let's figure out. I had a kid hit me in this, and it destroyed the front end of the vehicle. It also set off all of the airbags. So, this car isn't worth a whole lot to me, but I am keeping it around for sentiment. The way in which I'll be keeping it around is making it into a tow-behind camper to take to race events. But for now, I'm just kind of planning out how it's going to look while I tear out all of the wiring from this Mark IV Golf. Once there's spaghetti sitting on either end of this engine out front here with it, and we can start this engine with every bit of wiring disconnected from the vehicle, then it will be time to start fabricating it into the back of a 1991 Honda Civic. Let's pull some wiring and plan out a camper. Woo! Important yet, just a couple marker lights and stuff like that, which I know the ECU won't have an issue with, but there is some things that we're about to have to start unplugging that I'm not sure if the ECU is going to like. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and start this right now, just for a second, make sure it still runs, that it doesn't throw any hateful codes at me. The concerning ones, or whatever the heck these are, I don't know yet. I'll probably trace them a little bit and figure that out. I think there's an airbag still in the top and the back here, maybe, potentially. I don't know. Then the other one that's concerning is the one down here that goes down into the abyss. That I was thinking just went to this in order to, tell it when the gas door is shut. But there's something in here that I didn't even know was in here. I'll have to figure out what that is. Alright, it's telling me the normal top-up wash fluid, check brake pads, all the fun stuff. But it still runs. Okay, quick update in the future. I've got a bunch of stuff unplugged. I don't think any of this should matter. All of the power that goes up into the hatch is what this stuff is, so that shouldn't matter. And I also got in here and pulled what I believe to be that plug off of whatever that doohickey is. I don't know. It's a thing. Let's go ahead and I guess try to start it again and see if any of that matters. I don't think it will. I mean, it sounds like it's running fine. I'm gonna check the codes, make sure nothing new has popped up. Nope, nothing new.
Come on.
Alright, I plugged the fuel pump back in. I had a scare there because the oil light was coming on, but that's just because apparently that comes on for your fuel pump being unplugged too. So I plugged that back in and retested it. It's still running. I have an evap that's probably from the charcoal canister or maybe from the fan, I don't know. But now we're going to start ripping out the dash. Okay, here's where we're at. We've got most of the dash components out and unplugged and marked and all that, except for this. The Volkswonda is going to have all of this HVAC system. It might not have as many vents, but it is going to have AC and heat and defrost and everything like that. There will be a firewall, and in that firewall, just like in the Lamborghini, right here is probably going to be the infotainment. So essentially, this whole box will turn around and it'll go into my firewall flat right here. I do not want to have to modify any of the HVAC control wires. It's all like a mechanical push-pull wire system, and I don't want to mess with the lengths of that and have to dial all that in, as well as everything else I'm going to be doing. That HVAC box and this control box will just turn, and the HVAC box will go right here somewhere, and the controls will go right here in between the two seats. Let's get back to it. to give a quick update on what's going on here. First of all, I could hardly think when I got out here this morning because there were so many tools and components and hardware and everything everywhere. So I started by cleaning the work area. I also vacuumed everything out because I hadn't done that yet. So there was still like glass and shit in here from who knows when. I believe that I now have every bit of this wiring disconnected. I'm gonna have to figure out the maze of squirming and worming this whole thing through the firewall. I'm imagining that some of the holes aren't big enough for some of the components, but I'm not unpinning everything. So if the hole going through the firewall is not big enough, we'll make it big enough with a grinder. The one thing that's still connected in here is the fuel pump line. I did that so that I could check for codes, which when it's out of the car, we'll have to recheck that by pulling the sending unit and putting it in a 5-gallon bucket of gas or something like that. And then get in there and pull the grommet / cut the grommet that goes through the firewall so that we can start feeding things out. Let's see if we can get this disaster to live outside of the car over there. Gonna start peeling a bunch of stuff off of here until I'm able to pull all those wires out of that hole. If you get brake fluid on your hands, definitely wash it off right away. It soaks into your pores and into your skin and attacks your liver. So I just took the heater core lines off from back there, from the firewall. That heater hasn't been on in years. And so I'm pretty sure that that is the reason why the water that was in that smelled like something crawled in it and died. My whole shop stinks really bad right now. All right, I've got the brake booster gone and disconnected, all the brakes disconnected, the clutch disconnected, the heater core disconnected, the AC lines disconnected, and I believe every piece of hardware that holds that black plate into the firewall. Now we need to go into the car / camper and remove the HVAC system from the firewall so that I can pull the black plate out. As soon as I can pull the black plate out, all of the wiring should come out fairly easy. We'll see. Let's get to it. Firewall out. That was way more of a pain in the ass than I expected it to be. If you ever happen to be taking the glued firewall section out of an MK4 Golf, use a torch, heat up the areas until you start hearing the adhesive underneath popping and crackling, and then start prying on it. That was the only way I was able to get it off. But we have a giant gaping hole in the car now, which means all this wiring and all these plugs can fit through this hole and go live out front where they're supposed to. Let's get everything out there. So, I'm not exactly sure why, but my camera just decided to corrupt the shot that I took of me pulling all of this wiring through the firewall. So just pretend you watched me do it and that it was really exciting. We have it all though. Every last wire is out of that car, aside from door harnesses, which I only need part of those. I'm absolutely stoked with the state that we have this in. This is super exciting, because what this means is that here very soon we can take a hacksaw and just start cutting off the entire front end of this car. The cab is going to turn into a race day camper. The front end is going to turn into the rear end of a 1991 Honda Civic. I will be putting a tubular frame in the rear end of the 1991 EF Honda Civic that we are making mid-engine rear-wheel drive. In order to host this, I just want to cut off the entire front end of this car, like I said, because that'll be a camper, so I'm going to have to cut it off anyway. And then after I have this all off, I can get it set up, and then I can check the angle of my shocks. I can go ahead and get all the measurements that I need for all my mounting stuff, and then I can begin work on shoving this thing in the back of a 91 Honda Civic. While this may have not been the most exciting video to watch in the world, I promise it'll be a lot cooler when I'm shoving this thing into the back of a 91 EF Civic. If you'd like to see this happen, make sure you subscribe and follow along, because this is happening. This isn't just like some random guy saying, oh, I'm gonna build this thing. It's happening right here. Have a great day, and remember, don't let your meat loaf.